Castle of Castle does, and I got something that's not Subnautica. I got UT4. So I have a new UT4 map in the works because I want to start something new. I don't want to work with Chamber just yet. I want to go back to Chamber in a little bit, but I want to actually work on a new level that's completely fresh. Now I'm using subtractive brush geometry just because, well, the brush manipulation and such in UE4 is actually really bad. It's really inefficient. So right now I'm just building out the main room. Subtractive brush geometry actually makes things a lot more efficient because you're not dealing with as many brushes. Fewer brushes that you have to work with in this tech, the better. But one of the things that I'm learning about right now, and I'm having a hard time dealing with, is that this is a 10 base grid. It's meters. My entire career, I have been working with power of 2 grid because it matches the size of textures. 10 base, it's been sort of like, I don't know, watching a baby die in the middle of the street and not really be able to do anything about it. So like, but I also don't want to be that guy who's like, I want to go back to the old times, you know. Fuck that shit. So this is what we're doing now. I'm gonna bite my tongue, and I'm gonna apply this really awesome triplanar material, and just ignore the fact that this shit isn't gonna be on the grid. I mean, it's on the grid, but it's not really on the grid because the grid's different. You can't put things in the middle of hallways. I mean, alright, I'm not gonna complain about this too much. But, man, like, it feels so weird. And I'm sure everybody out there can agree with me that a 10 base grid, I don't even know if that's really what it should be calling it, a 10 base grid. Power 10. I'm just calling it 10 base. But anyway, the layout is very loosely based off of a layout that I made for the CPL a really long time ago for Painkiller Black. The layout doesn't really resemble, I mean, it sort of kind of resembles the old map, but it's really pretty different now. There's really a lot of the stuff about that old map is just completely gone. Like, these are completely different levels at this point, but I started off with that as my idea as a base, which I think I probably end up doing. I'm going to probably end up finding myself doing that kind of a thing a lot because I have a lot of old maps that I've made. I've worked on so many fucking maps that, like, and played so many of these maps that I might be like, you know what? I want to have a room that's kind of like something from ZTN. Do you even know what ZTN is? Good, because nobody does. ZTN is like ancient history. But a lot of the stuff that goes on with an arena-style first-person shooter, those old things are still relevant today. So I'll have a room that's cool like this, or resembling an old map from Quake 2 or 1. Who cares? So freaking old. But I like that original layout, and I wanted to try and come up with something new based around it. Like, I'm thinking about, like, okay, I really liked having this one room with the drop down in the middle where there's a shield belt that's really hard to get to, and like if all the pickups and everything like that are placed in this environment are all strategically set up so that you can't always stay on the top floor because height is always an advantage. So you have to choose whether or not you want to jump down to grab something. So all the best stuff is usually at least one floor down. And in one case, I actually placed armor on a tiny little pedestal that's just low enough where you can't get back up again. So it's like, dude, oh no, I got my cool item, but now I gotta get back up again. So it ends up becoming a game of constantly going up and down, and making sure that there's just enough places for the down player to hide. And like, I also want to make sure the map isn't too big. See, okay, all right. one of the things I know that's going to happen in Unreal Tournament 4 is there's going to be 100 Onslaught maps, there's going to be 1,000 CTF levels, there's going to be a million, probably not even exaggerating, just thousands and thousands of free-for-all levels. We know this is going to happen. It's just going to be ridiculous how many of them there are. But there's probably going to be a handful of good dueling maps. And maybe, maybe dueling, but dueling is typically the most unpopular, but also the most hardcore form of deathmatch in a first-person shooter. This is literally nowhere to hide. It is your skill versus the other player's skill. You don't have any ways to even out the playing field, like all of the other most popular games in the industry. This is you get your ass raped or you rape their ass. There's just going to be a butthole just getting fucked, and there's no way around it. So this mode tends to have very few players, but it is also the most hardcore of the first-person arena shooter style gameplay. So since I know there's going to be probably much fewer of these types of levels, I'm just going to come out and say, you know what? I'm going to create a handful of maps that are especially designed for this mode, with exactly what the players want, and just for balanced gameplay, and give this, like, so all 100 of us worldwide can check it out and fucking enjoy it. So that's my goal. And maybe, I don't know, it would be really fucking cool to see something I worked on actually being in like a tournament or something. I wanna, that's what I'm aiming for with UT4 right now. I mean, of course, I'll go around and work on some of the bigger maps with the game mode, with the crazier game modes that have all kinds of equalizers and things of that nature. But I want to have like a handful of these. So I have two right now. I have Chamber and I have the Ballast. So stay tuned for more.